Welcome back to Signal Live. And we're here today to talk about some exciting topics about questions about home buying, mortgage loans, and careers as loan officers. We are going to be streaming, as always, live on our Signal homepage on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course here on LinkedIn. But today I have an exciting guest to join us, and I have somebody who is our senior mortgage loan officer. His name is PJ Ulzheimer, and PJ has been with us for a number of years, and he is somebody who has a wealth of knowledge. So I want to introduce and welcome PJ to the LinkedIn Live. Welcome, PJ.
Hi, Philippe. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate this. I know this is a topic that a lot of people always have questions, especially when they're thinking about buying a home for the first time, because they're renting, or maybe they're thinking about refinancing, and they just have questions that they don't have the answers to. So I'm so happy that you're here today to help us answer some of those questions. But before we get started, I also want to invite people to go ahead and put comments in the chat. Let us know what questions you have for PJ about home buying, about refinancing, or about careers as a loan officer. We do have an opening for a loan officer currently, so PJ can tell you all about that. And then, of course, share where you're watching from. We'd love to hear where you're watching from as well. So, to start off, PJ, would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself and tell everybody about you?
Okay. So I started off in branch banking back in the 80s. Spent 13 years in branch banking and then ended up moving out and going into the mortgage field. So I've been doing mortgages for over 25 years now. Um, Big banks, little banks, brokers, credit union here. Um, what I like most about the credit union here is it reminds me of banking when I first got into banking. More of a personal atmosphere. You get to know the members more, as opposed to being for a big company where everyone is more of a number. Um, so I like it. My office is actually in a branch. I'm going to be moving to Leisure World as my primary branch, but I do travel around and visit the other branches, and I get to sit down and meet the members and talk to them. Um, which is a lot nicer than being locked away in an office just talking on the phone or emailing.
Absolutely.
So
Well, and thank you for sharing that, PJ, because you come with such a wealth of experience, and you've done a little bit of everything, and you really do understand the importance of trying to help people with this process of going through buying a home or refinancing. I guess the first question I wanted to ask you is, what are some things that people should know when they are first thinking about buying a home?
well, when you first start off, there's a couple of different stages. Um, and you should start thinking about it well in advance of actually applying for a loan. Um, you want to start to make sure that your credit is good. Um, Run your credit. There's a lot of different sources where you can find out your credit score and make sure there's nothing unexpected on your credit report, medical collection or something like that that could possibly rear its ugly head during the loan process. It's better to find that out sooner rather than later and then get it cleared up by the time you apply. You also want to try to save for a down payment and closing costs for the loan. Um, it's there's not a lot of programs that let you buy a home with no money out of pocket. So you're always going to have some closing costs to pay and then some sort of a down payment. So you want to start, you know, saving that money up early. Um, then when it comes time to actually apply, you want to apply for a loan and find out what you can qualify for before you meet with a realtor and go out to see homes. The last thing you want to do is start looking online and seeing all these homes for 750,000 going, that's exactly what I want, only to find out you qualify for 450. So you want to have a good idea of what you're in for. Um,
Well,
and that's where the pre-approval process comes in.
Well, and those are some great tips, and I think hopefully people watching are taking some notes on that. You mentioned the credit score. I know that people sometimes think, oh, well, my credit score is probably too low. I can't buy a house. Can you give people an idea of what kind of range of credit score would be considered appropriate for
So,
someone that's applying for a loan?
and credit scores, the higher the credit score, obviously, you can get into the more programs. Okay. 740 and above is pretty much putting you into top tier, but you don't have to be at 740. We can go down 620 for a credit score. I helped someone refinance about 2 months ago. The middle score there was 616. Um, so it is possible, even though, if you have a lower score, to still be able to do something. Um,
So if I thought with a 680 or I wouldn't be able to get a loan, I would be incorrect. I have a chance of getting a mortgage and
yeah,
be able to get
680, you can still qualify for a loan. Yes.
right. Wonderful.
So,
Well, and you also talked about saving ahead of time, and I know that we had a chat about something that you had done, and I was wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing, because I know a lot of people are renting, and they're thinking, God, if I go and buy a house right now, I'm going to end up having such a higher monthly payment. It might be doubled. What advice do
right.
you have for people that are in that situation today?
When when I first my first home was a condominium, and my wife and I owned the condominium. We knew that going into it, we weren't going to be there forever, and at some point, we were going to want to buy a single family home, and we had an idea of what we were going to pay for a mortgage. And I was in the branch banking side; I wasn't into the mortgage side yet. But we knew that our mortgage payment was going to go up at least $1,000. So when it came time to start saving for the down payment, every month we would open up $1,000 CD. And we did this for 6 months, and then we would add to the CDs as they matured. So we got used to paying an extra $1,000 a month. We were kind of like cash poor, I mean cash rich. So we got used to not dining out, not driving fancy cars, and just saving the money. So then when we did go to buy our house, and it was probably 2, 3 years later, we had saved up a fair amount of money to put down on the house. And then when we started writing the checks, it's equivalent to what we had been paying. So it really didn't change our lifestyle. There was no payment shock with it. So that's what we did, and it worked for us. So different people have different strategies, but if you can, try to anticipate what your mortgage is going to cost compared to what you're paying now, and try to bank that difference and save it and get used to paying for it. I know everyone likes to take fancy vacations every year and drive a nice car, but you have to look at the big picture and try to figure out what is important to you, um, and try
I
to.
think that's amazing advice. I mean, that's so simply brilliant there that what you shared, because I think planning ahead as to what you're going to actually spend and getting accustomed to that monthly amount, but using that
Exactly.
as a savings method too, so that when you actually do buy the house, like you said, you're used to already the payment, but then you also have money to furnish the house if it's bigger. If you go from a smaller place to a larger place, I know when we moved into our house, we had a lot of empty rooms for a very long time. We didn't have the money
Well,
to furnish
that's
it.
funny when you talk about furnishing a house. That's another thing. There's always going to be a mattress sale. Don't worry about running out and trying to buy a bunch of furniture because it's a Fourth of July sale or something when you're in the middle of trying to buy your house. Move into the house, get settled in. My first dining room table was a card table with two folding chairs. I had no furniture in the living room, and a small bedroom set. We described our decor as early American hand me down. Um, so somebody was getting rid of, a couch. It's like, wait a second, that's nicer than the one we have.
Oh, you know what? We got
So,
plenty of hand-me-downs from our friends, and we're like, "Oh, you have a couch getting rid of? We'll take it because we have an empty room." Our living room, when you walk into our house, we didn't have furniture for it, so we just called it a really nice foyer, even though it
right.
wasn't a foyer. So,
Think my wife said she had nicer furniture in her dorm room, but
so again, it goes to show you, it's all a journey. When you purchase a house, buy a house, it's just not going to be poof, all magically filled and furnished and ready to go. You
Mhm,
got things to do with the yard, to
mhm.
decorate, paint, fix. Um, you know, so obviously there are people that sometimes make mistakes. What are some of the biggest mistakes you have seen that people have made when they're going to buy a home or refinance?
Well, during the loan process, we start the loan application, we get you pre-approved for a home. Then right before you go to buy the home, before closing, we do two things, and pretty much all lenders. We do what's called a soft pull on your credit, just to make sure you didn't decide to run out and buy a new Mercedes in the middle of everything. And then we also call your employer to make sure that you're still working there. And it's amazing how many times in the middle of the purchase, you know, processing the loan, that people go out and buy a new car, or people decide, oh, I can quit my job. You know, it sounds like pretty basic stuff, but this is what people do to basically sabotage their own loans. So wait until you get into the house, get used to making the mortgage payment, and see what extra money you have available before you go out and start furnishing the house. And also, once you're in the house, then you can measure up the room, see how you want to lay out furniture, and make sure that what you're buying is going to fit in the room. Um, as far as quitting your job, we don't want you to quit your job unless it's to go to a better one.
Exactly.
Um, but again,
Yeah, it's actually great. For those that are listening, anyone, please always have a job lined up before you quit your current job. That's just a little career advice there, real quick.
yeah, it's always easier to find a job when you have a job.
Yes, it is. And
So,
and I think that's just great advice for people, because I think people do get excited, and they start thinking, oh, let's go to Lowe's and Home Depot and the furniture store, and you can rack up a lot of money very, very quickly. So that's great advice. Just take it slow and just take your time and do it right. I love that. Um, so as far as people that already own a home, say they want to refinance because rates have gone down during the pandemic, and maybe they're thinking, oh, they're starting to go up now. I missed my chance. What advice do you have for people that want to refinance today?
so there's a variety of reasons that people want to refinance. Um, a lot of people just want to lower their rate and lower their monthly payment, and that's a great reason to refinance. But other people need to take cash out, whether they want to do home renovations, um, or debt consolidation, something like that. So it's not always a matter of focusing on the rate, and that's where people get hung up. Okay. You can refinance and do a debt consolidation. Maybe your interest rate does go up a tiny bit. Um, we've been spoiled the past 2 years. Rates were historic lows. Right now, they're more of a normal interest rate environment. But if you're consolidating a bunch of high interest credit cards, student loans, maybe you have a high interest car loan payment, by consolidating and doing either a home equity loan or refinancing your mortgage, that can take all those little bills that you have with higher rates and combine them into one potentially fixed rate, fixed payment loan at a lower rate than the others and save you money.
That's a great question. That's great advice for everyone there. And could you explain a little bit about what is a home equity loan?
Okay. Home equity loan. Um, there are two different kinds of home equity loans. You have a regular fixed rate, fixed term loan. This is going to work similar to a car loan. So you would take out, say, a $50,000 home equity loan. It would be a type of second mortgage. And then you would have a fixed rate with a fixed payment. Um, and that can be good if you have a one-time deal. You know that you have these bills you need to consolidate, or you've done some renovations and you want to pay yourself back for them. So you take out the one loan. Other times you may want to have what's called a home equity line of credit that's actually a revolving line of credit. So again, let's say you have a $50,000 home equity line of credit. It would work like a giant credit card. It's there if you need it. You don't have to use it all at the same time. And you can tap into it for the first 10 years. So you can advance it and pay it down and then advance it again. And this is good for, let's say you want to do some home renovations, but you don't want to do them all at once. You want to do a bathroom now, and then when it's done, then you're going to do another bathroom. So you're not without a bathroom for a few months while they're tearing them apart. So you borrow, say, $10,000 from the home equity, you do your renovations. Then when you're ready for the next step, you can draw money back out again. And you can do it little at a time. Also good for parents of college age kids, draw some to pay for this year's tuition or this semester. And then you can tap back into it for additional finances as you need it.
Well, and that's great. Thank you for explaining that, because I think a lot of people, they hear that and they're not sure what it is. And, and I know it helps people, like you said, for renovations, for different projects, debt consolidation, the rates could be lower than your credit card rates. That's an opportunity for you to save some money monthly. So that's really, really helpful.
And one of the things that's good also with the home equity, if you are refinancing your house and you want to take cash out, the most we can go up to is 80% of the value of your home. So let's say you need to have a little bit more money than that. With a home equity line of credit, we can go up to 90% of the value of your home minus your first mortgage. So if your home is worth, say, 500,000, we can go up to 450 total. And if you currently owe 400 on your first, you could qualify for potentially a $50,000 home equity, and take it up to 90% of the home's value. Obviously, certain credit scores, debt to income, other things apply, but the potential for going up to 90 with a home equity, where it's just not there with your traditional first mortgage.
PJ, I wish I had known you when I was buying my house, because all these things would have been so helpful for me when I was first buying my home. And it's just amazing, these tips. I really appreciate the knowledge you're sharing today. So, you've been at Signal for how long now?
6.5, going on 7 years.
7 years. So you worked at other institutions, obviously. What is it about Signal that makes it different? Why should people come to Signal, instead of another institution?
Like I said before, I've worked for bigger companies, and here, one example, our CEO was downstairs when I was walking out to lunch, stopped by, talked to him. He knows exactly who I am, says, "Hey, PJ, how you doing?" and talked to me. We had a nice conversation. I've worked for a lot of companies where the CEO could walk right past me and not know who I am, and not want to take the time to talk to me. But that's the way pretty much the whole company is. I haven't found anybody that's been unfriendly here. We all get along. We all have, time for each other.
No,
And it,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, just like I said, when I started here in Montgomery County in banking, and we knew our customers. But then as banking grew, and it seemed like there were more and more big banks and fewer small banks, and it just got to be more of like a machine, you know. And I feel more at home in a smaller environment. And here in my office, I'm looking out a window, and I have people that I've helped with mortgages. They stick their head in, they say hello, show me pictures of what's been going on. I have people bringing in now their kids are buying homes, and they're like, "Here, talk to PJ." So,
Well, and that's what I love. One of the things that you do, and I think a lot of people here, we always preach about the relationships and how much we value the relationships, because there's a lot of relationship bankers out there, right? But
right.
in my opinion, what I've experienced has been very transactional. It's like, oh, here's your car loan's been approved, congratulations, next, and they forget about you. But I agree. The relationships that you build here at Signal, people remember you. They come back, and the fact that they want to come back and share with you some exciting news about their new baby or grandbaby, or they want to get their first house with their child, and they want you to help them because they knew that you helped them with their own, and that you gave that great experience, and you maintain that relationship. That's huge. So as far as Signal and innovation, what we talk about innovation a lot at Signal, and we do have a lot of things that we believe are very innovative and are differentiators for us. But what, in your opinion, makes us different and innovative?
Um, well, and again, by being a smaller company, I think we can fast track things. So if it's a matter of updating our computer system, we don't have to go through 20 layers to get to the decision makers to make a decision. We have, the IT talks to the powers to be on a constant basis. So I know that we've got some things going on behind the scenes, updating phone systems and interactive software so that people on the website can actually talk to us, video chat. So we've taken the time to train for it. And when it rolled out, it wasn't shocking. Like, what do we do? We went through the training beforehand. And again, it's nothing that we rushed into. I know there was a lot of work being behind the scenes. But we've tried to stay cutting edge, and being smaller, I just think it's easier dealing with a smaller organization and rolling things out than trying to roll it out cross country.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I think, as far as the fact that we have that ability to be a little bit smaller, we have that ability to be a little more innovative and make that, experience a little bit more unique, and I think that is something that's special. And, we have a lot of new things coming up. We have some things that are getting ready to go live if they haven't gone live, and things in the future. And hopefully we keep on teasing about it. I know Sheila and I teased about it last 2 weeks ago. We're teasing about it again. Hopefully, our June 1st live, LinkedIn Live, you'll have Alec Patrick be able to share more about the things that we're teasing about. But going back to the innovation, PJ, I know that you went to a home show not too long ago, and you took our mobile branch there. What was that experience like? What was that like?
So it was kind of funny. We have up in Howard County, they have a home show every year, and they have a lot of booths with whether it's landscapers or people doing closet organizers, a lot of stuff for renovating your home. And I've gone through it, and I've kind of gotten, having recently done an addition, you get culture shock when you realize how much things cost, because there is no such thing as a $5,000 project. I think some of these closets are pushing 10,000.
Okay.
But my thought was people are going to come out of this going, hey, these are great ideas. How are we going to pay for it? So we have a mobile branch. For people that don't know, it's basically a motorhome with a branch set up on the inside. We have an ATM on the outside. It's got TV sets on it. So we took that to the home show. And the home show people, when I was talking to them, they said, well, we can put you into these booths. And I'm like, you don't understand. We have a big motorhome. So they put us right outside. When you came out of the home show, you were looking at our mobile branch. And it was on a Redskin Sunday. So they had the Commanders on TV. But we were able to bring that, and, we could go over with people, our products. If anybody wanted to apply for anything, we could actually sit down and take an application with them. We have our laptops. They're all tied into the computer system with the bus. So it was.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, a lot of people thought it was very well received. People loved the idea of the bus. They came over just to check it out and find out more about Signal.
So definitely an attention grabber for sure. And for those of you who want to see more about what PJ is referring to, our Signal On the Go mobile branch. If you go to our Signal careers, community, and culture page, it basically has a video of the mobile branch. You can go to our playlist and hit go ahead, and you'll see our go ahead video. And this mobile branch, like PJ said, is definitely one of a kind. On the outside, it's got everything like he said. Your ATM, you can open accounts, we can do instant issue debit cards, we can print out loan checks. But on the inside, it's not an office. We gamified financial education. It's a actual game that you go in, the lights go down, the whole screen comes up, and you start answering questions that come at you. And the whole wall of the screen is a video screen. The whole wall of the truck is a video screen. So it really is a unique experience. And when PJ was referring to the Commanders game, I have to get used to that. So we actually have a mini Jumbotron type of video TV on top of the mobile branch. So we can actually display football games. We can put ads, commercials. So it's a great engagement tool. It really is. So as far as, I know people have talked about typical waiting times for loan applications, and I've heard horror stories about people waiting for 3 months to get their loan approved. What would someone expect if they came to Signal to get their loan approved? What's the turnaround time?
So when I first came to Signal, and I was coming from a bank, I have a lot of friends that are realtors, and talking to them, I said, hey, just to let you know, I'm going to be leaving where I was, and I'm coming over to Signal Financial Federal Credit Union. And they all had the same reaction. They're like, oh, no. And I'm like, what? And they said, credit unions don't understand 30 days. They seem to think they have all the time in the world to close a loan, and they take like 3 months. And at first, I didn't really understand why they were saying that. And I came over here, and our loan department was changing for the better. Um, in the past, we had never sent out an electronic loan package. They would print the loan package and courier it to the title company for closing. And
Very traditional, old school
I'm
stuff.
looking, I'm going, we got to get out of the 80s. So we ended up pretty rapidly using the computer system more to its potential, sending out electronic loan applications, sending out closing packages, and really speeding up the turn times. So the whole staff comes from mortgage backgrounds, not necessarily credit union backgrounds. So we understand a 30-day turn time. We have a branch in Leisure World, and there are only 3 lenders that are approved to do the co-ops in Leisure World, and we are one of the 3. And we are also the first lender of choice, if you will. So the realtors that are familiar with Leisure World and Leisure World staff, they'll say we prefer that you use Signal, and we haven't missed a deadline with them. So we understand that if you're buying a home, you want to close in 30 days. That's a priority. So we'll make that happen.
And
Okay. So,
that's been the standard for us for quite a few years now. That's pretty much.
oh yeah, I mean
It's been like
within 6-8 months of me coming here, we had our turn time shortened. So, and that's something that we work hard on and we're proud of, is making the deadlines. So,
well,
past
I
2
applaud
years
you.
of papers were.
Well, I applaud you and the team. I mean, you and all the mortgage team, you all do an amazing job, and you take great care of our members, and you do process the things very timely. And I've seen everyone do it consistently. So that's something that is really a unique thing, I think, to be able to do it consistently and do it well. So I know that we have an opening in the mortgage department for a loan officer.
I may have noticed that.
Well, and I'll say PJ, our past loan officer and PJ, they made an amazing team. They really were somebody who, it wasn't about competition and who can beat the other person out. It was how can they succeed together, and it was an amazing
No, it's a
duo.
competition.
Friendly competition, though. I gotta say,
No.
you two were like best brothers or best friends that liked to compete. That's what I saw you two as.
Well, we always said that we wanted to beat the other person by 1 loan and $1.
There you go. And that's
It
a
didn't matter.
great.
We didn't want to see the other person fail, but we just wanted to have one more unit than the other person and/or one more dollar, just to say, I beat you. But again, a friendly competition like that, I think, is good for a healthy environment.
Oh yeah.
It helps give you more of a drive. So
No, I think how competition can be fun and healthy as long as it's healthy and not negative. I agree, and that's something that helps us also. It challenges ourselves. We become a little bit better, especially if we push ourselves, and if we have a friend that can help us get there, it's always a good thing. But so if somebody is currently at another location and maybe their culture isn't great, the atmosphere isn't great, maybe they don't have the best manager, and they're looking to maybe go somewhere else, why should they come here?
Again, what I really like about the company, besides the fact that we all know each other and everything, I get to talk directly to the underwriters. The head of lending is my direct superior, so I get to talk to him, the operations manager. I get to talk to people directly and not have to go through 2 or 3 layers. Um, I get answers as to why we can or cannot, and even underwriters that will help, say, restructure a deal. If I'm just not seeing something, if a loan isn't working for me, they'll help restructure it. Maybe we do it this way to get the deal approved. And sometimes it just needs that second set of eyes to look at it. And again, a lot of companies, bigger companies especially, they don't want to take the time to do that. The underwriters are like, no, that's not cookie cutter. I'm not going to approve it. Here, we take the time to look at it, and they'll have the loan officer give their input as to why they think it's good or not good, and try to make it work. So,
Oh,
we
oh,
want to help our members become homeowners, to refinance their house, save money, what have you.
well, and I think that's, thank you for sharing that, 'cause I think that's important for people to realize that, we really, we want to obviously do well as a business, but we want to make sure that our members do well and that they come back to us and that we can be there for their lifelong journey financially, hopefully. And this culture of being able to, like you said, talk to the CEO whenever you want. I mean, I know people drop by his office, and our CEO, as you know, loves vacation. He loves to go on vacation, doesn't he, PJ? And so if you go on vacation and want to tell him about your vacation, he loves to hear about it. He always asks people how they're doing. He walks around the building, but it's not just him. It's other people. You mentioned your direct supervisor, Saeed, who's our VP of lending. He actually made a comment here, and he said, "This is great information so far." So here's Saeed, who's supporting you by being on LinkedIn Live and watching you, and that's something I think again goes to show what you were saying is that we have a lot of people that do support us at all levels, and there's not one person in the credit union that we don't really know or haven't met or talked to. Yeah, maybe some of the newer hires, maybe you haven't had a chance to get to know as well, but we are definitely that family culture atmosphere. So I definitely think it makes it easier to approach people and ask questions and ask for help. Um, so as far as if a loan officer was, considering maybe applying for our job here,
Mhm.
how would you think that they would be happy with the pipeline that we have and with the business that they do with the business that we have here for them?
We do. We have a really good business model. We do support our branches, and the branch staff is trained not just by me, but they do a lot of training on what to look for mortgage referrals and also home equities. A lot of companies, loan officers don't handle home equity loans. They just handle it through consumer lending. A home equity is really not a consumer product necessarily. A loan officer is trained better to inform people about the product and help them through the process. You do have to go through, similar to getting a mortgage, credit report, tax returns, paychecks, etc. And it's something that the loan officers will have the opportunity to sell. And a lot of times when I'm helping somebody with a home equity, we determine that they may have an FHA mortgage that has mortgage insurance on it for life that doesn't go away. Well, they may have a lot of equity in their home now with the home values having gone up a lot. So in going through everything, we may find out that even if the interest rate is a little bit higher, it saves them money by doing a refinance rather than a home equity loan. So again, by a loan officer looking at this, you'll have the opportunity to help a member get a first mortgage at a lower payment overall, saving money. Um, so that's one of the benefits for being a loan officer. You get to help people with mortgages. You get to close the mortgage, obviously, but they get to get a better product for them.
Well, there you
Uh,
go. So if you're a current mortgage loan officer out there looking for maybe another opportunity in a better environment, we have a great culture, we have great benefits, we have good pipeline, we have great members, you have great partnership with another loan officer here, and you have a great team that's efficient, fun, and they work well together. So if you have interest in that opportunity, go ahead and apply at signalfinancialfcu.org/careers. So thank you for sharing that, PJ. I appreciate that. So last question for you before we wrap up today.
mhm.
Because anyone who gets to know PJ, he's definitely somebody who is a very just he's filled with so much knowledge and he's so unique. I mean, he's a lover of motorcycles. We know that he has ridden his motorcycle to work quite a few times, and
Mhm.
you go on trips with your wife on cross country sometimes, even, right?
Well, this side of Mississippi for the most part, unless we
Okay.
fly and rent somewhere.
So he
Right.
really is a fascinating person. But my last question to you is, I'm curious, who in your life has inspired you and why?
That's tough. I've had a lot of people. I mean, a couple of teachers, but usually it's family. I look at my parents a lot. They instilled values on me at a young age. My mom was in branch banking, so I don't know. I want to say thank and cuss her at the same time, but no, I wanted I ended up getting a job in a bank because bank manager that she used to work with was looking to hire somebody. So that kind of sent me on my career path. Um, I just wanted a paycheck at the time, but looking back, it turned out to be one of the better things I did career wise. Um,
Well, that's
but
all. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I still, I looked at my parents. They worked hard, and you know, said if you're going to do something, learn the trade and do it. So that's
Well,
what I look back as inspiration. I don't really know what to
no,
say to
I
that.
think it's great. Your parents, you're right, and I love how you said they instill values in you that you sometimes you don't realize until you're older in life. That wow, all these values were instilled in me at a very young age, and they're sticking through. And it's something that again we don't appreciate it sometimes early on in life, but I think I know that my parents I feel the same way. So, and I think that's probably common with a lot of people. So it's nice that you have those parents, and I hope that they appreciate you as well. But thank you, PJ, for just seriously taking the time today just to spend time with us, to share your knowledge, to help people that maybe have questions. I encourage people to go ahead and, team replay. If you watch this in replay, put questions here in the chat. PJ will be happy to reach out to you and respond back to your questions if you have questions.
Yeah, definitely.
If you missed the live, it's okay. We'll be happy to get back to you through the chat. It's a great opportunity to ask questions because, again, sometimes we don't know what we don't know. I know when we bought our first home, it was very nerve wracking and nervous. So it's nice to have someone like PJ to help you along the way. And if you want more information about all that PJ shared today, we do have our home buying webinar on our webpage, on our website under the resources tab. So take a look at that and you can get see the webinar there for more information. But PJ, again, thank you again for joining us. I appreciate your time today, and thank you all of you that watched. And if you come back on June 1st to have Alec Patrick, our VP of e-services and IT. He'll be talking about, again, some technology, some amazing innovative things that we're doing that we've been teasing about, and his favorite topic, cryptocurrency. And so, you can't get away with that. He's going to talk about it no matter what. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, PJ. And check
All
out
right.
Signal. Have a great day,
Thanks,
everyone.
Philippe.